Nate. Nate, what up?
What's going on? How you doing?
Different intro. Different intro this time.
It caught me off guard.
Nate. Um, I feel like we say this on every episode, but this is an episode that's been a little while in the making. Really excited to have Dan W. We'll just say W. Warriors in Iraq. You got it, Nate? What is it?
Yeah. Warsniak.
Wars.
Right?
Is that right? Dan,
Yeah.
can you nod? Was he close?
I feel like I'm on it.
He's put his head side. He's like, I don't know. It was all right. Anyway, we got Dan W., the owner, designer, brains behind Bigg Mouth Fishing, BIGG. Bigg Mouth Fishing. We'll put like the info on the slide on the bottom if you're on YouTube, but otherwise, if you're listening, it's BIGG mouthfishing.com. And let me just say, well, first, welcome, Tackling Tacos Fishing Podcast, new episode, pumped to have it. And like I said, every episode, it seems like with all our guests, it's like, oh, we've been trying to get this one on, we've been trying to get this dude back on, but we've been trying to schedule something with this feller for a while. Super down to earth cat, very normal human being. And the way that I found out about Bigg Mouth Fishing was our friends at the Okayest Fisher podcast. They had him on their show, and I don't want to come across like pompous or douchey at all, but there's a million small fishing lure companies out there. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
for the most part, they're fine, whatever. Like, I mean, I remember when I was a kid watching a video with my Uncle Brad of bass biting like Batman figurines with hooks melted into them. And so, I mean, stuff will catch fish, you know what I mean? But a lot of like the small brands, they're not really, how do I say this without sounding like a turd? I guess I'll just say it, and if it comes across turdy, I'm sorry in advance, and I mean it because I don't want to be like that. But a lot of them aren't really doing anything unique. You know what I mean? They're all kind of pushing out the same Cinco shapes or the same like sweet beaver shapes with the same colors and whatever. But I looked up Bigg Mouth just based off of that podcast, and it was about 2 seconds into homie's website that I was like, yo, like these are some of the most unique colors I've ever seen. Like crazy color combinations, like core shots where like half of like the stick bait is like translucent, the inside is one color, the outside's another color. Crazy copper, like brown color with like bright blue fleck, or like my favorite where you have a bait with like a different colored tail. And then so like even this one I have in my hand right now, this is a just like a boot tail swim bait, paddle tail swim bait, but it's like clear with a boatload of red and blue metal flake in it. And look at, if you're on YouTube right now, look at that tail. I mean, that puppy is limp. I mean, that thing, and in the water, it looks awesome. Fast, slow. It just rocks. And so then after getting all pumped up about a smaller company and seeing what they're capable of, I'm like, dude, we got to have this cat on the show. You know what I mean? Because when you find a company that's not huge yet and they're killing it, it's like, dude, I want to help them kill it even more. You know what I'm saying, Nate?
Absolutely. Yeah. Definitely try to get more ears and eyes on the product. I remember you sending me some of the screenshots of those color combos and stuff, and yeah, it's pretty mind blowing. It's sweet for sure.
Yeah, I was excited right away. I was like, dude, look at these colors. Look at these. I mean, I was talking to other buddies like in the fishing industry, people who own pretty large tackle distribution companies, and I was like, dude, look at these colors. These are wild. And everybody was like, whoa. Like people who make baits were like, whoa. Like even they were impressed. And so I'm pumped to have Dan on. We'll talk about fishing, talk about his stuff. Again, if you didn't hear, bigmouthfishing.com, BIGG, and stuff is affordable. Like their stuff is not absurdly priced, which it always kind of breaks my heart when you have like these smaller companies. And because of the scale of which they're operating, they have to charge a little more because, they don't have these giant margins built in. But then because they're smaller and they're charging more, sometimes people just write them off. And it's like, dang it, dude. And this dude's not charging a bunch. Like he's got some really cool ideas, some urchin stuff. It's just, really, really dope. So stoked to have him on. Nate, how the crap have you been?
I've been doing all right. Yeah, I've been hanging in there. Yep. All right. Baseball is winding down. We're pretty much to the end. I think we our little league team, my son's little league team, did qualify for the state tournament.
Dang.
But we have some kids that have some eligibility, I guess availability rather, issues to where they may not be able to go. So I don't know if we're gonna take our team there or not. But so with that winding down, I've actually had kind of a mellow week, which has been pretty nice because I've had a little back issue I've been dealing with that's kept me pretty much on the couch or the bed.
Dang, because you put the team on it or what?
That's exactly why. Yeah, put the team
back, dude.
back.
Look
No,
at this.
yeah, that had some sciatic issues that kind of turned into like piriformis
Yep.
syndrome.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that.
Yep. That's, I mean, not to be funny, but that's what pregnant women get. Like,
Yeah, no, yeah, it's
sciatic, like down your butt, like your whole side, it goes like numb and yeah, that's miserable. That's no
yeah,
good.
I have not been able to feel my left foot for like the last 3 days. So it's yeah.
Dragging like a zombie.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, just walking around. I look like Big John from Atlas, you know.
That was the right sound effect, the creepy one.
Yeah.
Not usually very good on the sound effects, but I got lucky on that one. But dadgum, man, I'm
No.
that similar deal. I've been practicing jujitsu now for not very long, month and a half or something like that, at a really dope gym here in Eau Claire called Club 37. And I go on Tuesdays and Friday mornings, and I take the kiddos. Two of our boys like to do it as well. But on like Tuesdays and Fridays, there's not that many people there, so you end up just rolling, which means sparring with people. And usually what we do is like Catlin, who's like a 900th degree black belt with a red thing, and all, he's a monster. I mean,
Right.
he's like, when he's explaining stuff, he's like that episode of The Office where Creed and Jim are playing chess, and Creed's like, "Oh no, don't do that. You do that, I'm gonna do this. You do that, I'm gonna do this. You do that, I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna do this." And then he puts his hand on another piece, and he's like, "You do not want to do that." That's how it is as like physical, like everything you do. He's like, "Oh, that could lead to this, and that could pull to this, and that could go from there to there." And I'm like, "Good Lord, dude." He's like a Terminator of jiu-jitsu. But anyway, there's not as many people there, so you end up rolling with guys who are way outside of your weight class and way outside of your skill set. And I'm a whitest of all bleached white belts. I don't know nothing. Half the time we'll be like sparring, rolling, and Catlin will be barking at me like, "Dude, make sure you go for your guard or get your what." And I'm like, "I don't know what that is." He's saying all these words, but anyway, I had to do like kind of one of the techniques you can do if you're any offensive and you're sort of on top and you have somebody on their back, is you can they just call it like a wet blanket, because you don't want a bunch of space. So you keep your weight on them from your shoulders down to your hips so that they can't create space and kind of wiggle out or get on the offensive. And this dude I'm sparring with is like 260, 280, and he's a purple belt. So he's been doing this for like 10 years. I've been doing it for like 10 days, and he's got 100 pounds on me. And I'm too hard-headed just to like let it go. And that's one thing about jujitsu that you learn is like, you don't always have to be in a hurry. It's not like boxing. It's not like striking, it's not MMA stuff. It's just jujitsu. And so sometimes it's about like just gathering yourself, taking breaths while you can. And then if a movement happens, sometimes whatever. Anyway, but I'm just like, I gotta outdo this guy. And I pulled something in the front of my right hip, which I don't even know what that means. But like, I'm old, but every time I get in my car now, I'm like, and then I get out of my car and I'm like it just hurts. Yeah, dude. And I'm trying to act normal, but it's not. Yeah, it's stupid. But anyway, getting hurt, getting old. We're getting old, Nate. That's basically the gist of it.
That's for sure.
We should get sponsored by like a tennis ball company so we can put them on our walkers and then
then we'll slide around.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about it. Like when I broke my ankle a bunch of years ago, I don't know if you remember that, and I had that little like scooter thing that I put my leg on and I could kind of that was dope, dude. That was really fun. Anyway, so really fast, tacklandtacos.com, at tacklandtacos for Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Our sponsors, real quick, are Grizzly Coolers, WCB at grizzlycoolers.com. We'll get you 15% off. Loophole Optics. This hat, favorite sunglasses I've ever worn, my favorite binos, my favorite scope. The Storm Warden rain gear is bananas. Moldy's moldy'smarine.com. I need to share a video of, I kind of did on our YouTube, like a short, but the way that he mounted my spare on a spare hub. So now it's rock solid and it spins on the side of my trailer like 3-6 Mafia, which is super dope. DenaliFishing.com, amazing rods, great reels, and they got some new stuff coming out that I'm not allowed to talk about. I don't know if it's an iCast debut, I think it is, but crazy, where intelligence and like innovation meets actual fishing. That's kind of where Denali is. You know what I mean? Like they're not just out there making crap up for the fun of making it up. Like they're coming up with new rods, new handles, new grips, new guides, because They fish like crazy. They're not afraid to sort of push the envelope. DenaliFishing.com. The DLE rod series is easily my favorite series of rods I've ever used in my life. I know that's a big statement, but they're awesome. They balance so perfectly. The guides are super sensitive. They're the right length, the right size. They're awesome. And then Northland Insurance Services, our buddy Brian Beebe, who I got to fish a derb with, northlandinsuranceservices.com. Nate, what do you say? Let's bring Dan in. Yeah.
Yeah, let's get it. I'm excited to talk bait making and
Yeah.
all things whipping up some colors.
Yeah, we'll talk about color innovation. We're going to do the hypothetical game like we did with Bob Downey, but instead of like water specific how to fish stuff, we're going to talk about like how do you come up with a lure or a lure color? How do you come up with a bait and not this bait? How do you choose that and not this? When do you jump in with a new style of bait? When do you let it go? But that'll be fun. So with no further ado, from Bigg Mouth Fishing, also from God's favorite state of Wisconsin, we're excited to bring in, Mr. W. Dan. What up, Dan?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for having me on. It's been a pleasure to kind of get this rolling. I know, like you said, it's been some time to kind of get it planted on the books, man. But I'm excited. Anytime I can talk about my business, obviously I love that, and anytime I can talk fishing, and we can be here for hours.
Yeah, heck yeah, dude. So tell me, where are you coming? Where are you coming to us from? Where in Wisconsin again?
We are in Kenosha.
Okay, so you're down by like Lake Geneva area, or no?
Yeah, we're pretty much like 30 minutes east of Geneva. We're right on Lake Michigan. Yeah, Geneva is about 30 minutes from us. Delavan's about 45. So I stop by those areas quite often.
Okay, you like fishing Lake Geneva?
I don't spend as much time on Geneva as I do on Delavan, just because of just the size of the lake and more of my connections and guides that I work with are out on Delavan, so I spend some more time out there. But Geneva is a heck of a fishery if you obviously know what you're doing and you can find them. Those fish move around a lot, and I found, at least in my limited time of being able to get out on the water, Delavan's a little bit easier to kind of keep track of them.
Yeah. All right, so let's ask you a quick question, and then I want to get into some history stuff, unless Nate wants to hit you with any early ones as well. But what's your favorite style of fishing, Dan? Like, what's your favorite species? What's your favorite way to target them? What's your favorite?
That's a loaded question right to begin, man. I don't know. I feel like it changes all the time. I mean, I think all in all, I love like smallmouth fishing. And I do a lot of river fishing for those. Like, I'm not very good like on the lakes of like, hey, it's July and they're out in 50 foot of water and you got to go find them. Like, I can't do that. But I do a lot of river fishing for smallies. But I mean, I'm not going to say no to bluegill on bobbers and have a nice fish fry. Like in spring, I'm chasing walleye all the time. So it's so hard to say, but probably smallmouth.
Okay. Yeah. So you are a multi-species guy, though, you'd say.
Yeah. No, for sure. We'll chase everything. We'll crappie, bluegill, pike, perch, sturgeon in the fall. Like we'll catch whatever.
That's awesome. I love that.
Heck yeah.
Nate, you got anything before we jump into like his history, who he is as a fisherman, all that fun stuff?
Yeah. So smallies is the fish. What's the tackle? How do you like catching them?
Nice.
I mean, obviously now, like I'm a pretty big finesse guy. You know what I mean? So I love paddle tails. I love nets for covering water, especially on the river. You got the 3.8 inch there. We also got the 3 inch that just came out too a couple months ago. So we got that in circulation now. But I will say though, like if I had to fish like one technique every day for the rest of my life, it'd be topwater. There's nothing that beats a topwater blow up. Nothing beats a big 5 pound smallie on the river blowing up on topwater. So that's probably one of my go-to favorites.
Okay.
That's
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Nate.
That's incredible. I was just gonna say that's incredible for sure.
Yeah. What's your top water bait? What's your favorite go-to? It's the dawn is cracking over the horizon. Sun's just coming up. Let's say it's late May, and you're looking for top water in your boat. What's the first one you're going to?
So I got one that they don't make anymore, and I only got one left, and it works different than all the other ones I have. It's an old Excalibur popper.
Oh yeah.
And I have a couple, but there's only one that works a certain way where I can pop it just fine, or I can walk the dog with it, where the other ones won't do that. So that's like my like pride and joy of like when I lose this thing, I might give it like a year off. You know what I mean? Like I've had a couple encounters where I've almost lost it, but there's times like I won't even throw it if I know they're like pike in that body of water, like I won't throw it. But other than that, I mean, I love like the Berkeley Choppos or the Whopper Ploppers.
Okay.
I like the Choppos more just because of their profile. I like that profile better than a Whopper Plopper. But God, I mean, getting a fish off those things is like you're putting your life in your own hands. I mean, it's unbelievable. You're one move away from like an ER visit.
Yeah, especially when they come out of cold water and they just come out fired up. They will not slow down, calm down. Like, oh my God. Yeah, that's right. Even the other day, like, I forgot to tell this story, but just a couple of days ago, I took my middle boy, Vinny, and his friend Aiden out. And it was cool, too, because Aiden, Vinny's a real good friend, has never been on a bass boat. And so we're going super fast. And I look over and his hair is just like plastered up in the air. He's just smiling ear to ear. He got hit in the face with a couple of bugs and he thought it was hilarious. And like, it was just so fun. And we caught some fish on jigs mostly is what we were sticking them on. And they were both the boys. Every time we caught a fish, we got to put that on the scale. We got to weigh that. Oh, we got to weigh that. I'll bet you that's like 3.5 or 4. And it was like 1.25 or, whatever. But yeah, the excitement of it. But anyway, I caught a couple smallmouth. One of my favorite ways to catch smallies is throwing square bills on rocks, like big rocks or riprap or whatever, because it's like they just hate it. It's like you talk bad about their mama. Like they get so angry and just crush it. But then you get them in the boat, and even the water was like 83.5. It was really, really warm when we were fishing on Lake Wissota. And he still came out, all of them that I caught on that square bill, just thrashing. Just where they, you get one hook out, and then they thrash, and they put the other hook back on like their gill plate, and you're like, ugh. And you're just waiting to get one through your thumbnail or something. But yeah, dude, that's life. And also Excalibur, Nate is probably the biggest Excalibur lipless fan in the history of mankind, like to this day. Yes, Nate?
Oh, no. Yeah, no doubt. I have an absolute ton. Well, not a ton of the lipless. I've got quite a few, but I do have a lot of I was going through the square bills. I have a lot of square bills, both the 100 and 200s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are good ones. Their jerkbaits were dope too. The Excalibur jerkbaits were.
So
I think I only have a couple
connection.
jerkbaits.
Yeah, if you got a connection, then give me some more top waters. I'd be looking into it because, like I said, I only have a couple left. There's only one out of the bunch that works the way that I like that it works. You know what I mean? And it's just one of those things, and it is what it is. But it's a great brand. So I love to see if I can find some more of those.
Yeah, I know they have. Go ahead, Nate.
I was just going to ask if you have a theory or a thought on why that one works better than some of the others. Is it older, maybe different plastic, or what do you think?
I don't know. I mean, the only thing I can kind of compare it to when you look at like in the bait making world, like some materials, they just work a little bit different. Like I know guys like when they work with balsa wood, like balsa, they all act a little bit differently. Now, granted, this isn't balsa, but that's the only thing I can think of is that there's just something about that bait and how it was designed or how it was made. Maybe it was made a little bit wrong. I don't know. I can't walk the dog with the other baits as well as I can with this one. So for whatever reason, there's just something, maybe it got bent along the way, and maybe there's a little bit of a kink to it where that's throwing it off a little bit, but it definitely is completely different than the action on the other baits that I use.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I know, Dan, and you probably don't want to come out of your pocket for them, but I know they have them on Etsy and stuff. But you're getting smoked on price. Like the Excalibur, like what is the XR75? Is that what it is? The lipless and all the good colors, like the sexy shad colors and like that metal blue color. Is that what the size is? XR75?
75 is the bigger one. The 50 is the like the normal size one or standard.
I mean, you can find those on Etsy for $80. I mean, it's
okay.
Oh, but they're dope. But they have them. Etsy has like Etsy, like the crafty website. They have all kinds of cool like lures, old stuff, whatever. But anyway, we digress. Let's talk Dan. Let's talk Mr. W.
Let's talk the good stuff.
Yeah, dude. Let's. One thing too, I wanted to say, I was very impressed. Number one, thank you for sending us some baits before we podcasted with you. I've caught the holy fire out of them on your stick baits already. I'm already like out of the ones you gave me. They're awesome baits, awesome colors. The colors look even better in person. It's really hard. Yeah, Nate. It's really hard to show how good a color looks via video or photo, which I'm sure you understand, like putting it on your website and stuff. But when you get them in hand, see them in water, these are the truth, man. They're really good. And I was really impressed too with your packaging. I thought that was really cool to have your logo all over like the pack. That's really dope. But let's go back in time. Talk us through in whatever depth you want to go, whatever specificity you want to slap on there. But how did you get bit by the fishing bug? How did you start making lures? Give us kind of the whole rundown, if you would.
Yeah, I mean, I like the fishing bug happened a lot earlier. I mean, we always grew up going up to the North Woods. You know, we were always going up to Eagle River and Minocqua, Boulder Junction, that kind of thing, where we'd spend, you know, a week or two at a time up there in the summers, and we do sometimes Labor Day, Memorial Day weekend, things like that. And you know, it was pretty obvious that like from a very early age, I fell in love with it, and just being up in the woods and just that experience, being at the lake and in the cabin and just being out on the water, and there's just something so cool about it. And then I took my first trip with actual fishing trip when I was 8 years old with my dad up to Mercer, and that's when it was like, you know, hey, we're out there for 4 or 5 days. It's like all you're doing is fishing, and I fell in love with it so much, and I've never looked back. I mean, I remember just casting little curly tail grubs from the dock,
Yeah.
and catching and like, you know, catching hammer handle pikes, and being like, wow, this is like the coolest thing in the world. You know what I mean? And to be honest, like, I mean, I'm 33 now, and like that's never left. Like that same emotion, that same feeling is like, wow, this is literally the coolest thing I've ever experienced, and it's always like that every single time I go out, and every single big fish I catch, and even if I, you know, when I slow down a little bit now and, you know, go for some bluegill and throw some bobbers out there, and it's just like, wow, like this is just, it's so cool. And that's really, you know, what got us into fishing was just going up there for those trips every year and doing things like that. And I love it. You know, we got into the bait making a little bit later on.
Okay.
So my brother and I, we do this together. He's my business partner, and my brother. So that helps us. But we were looking for something during COVID, you know, like a lot of people were, and we wanted to do something that kind of connected us together. Because I mean, you know, when we both hit college and after college, we kind of both went our separate ways, and we were both out of the house and things like that. And we wanted to stay close together and do something together. We wanted to do something that we loved. And then COVID hit, and then we're kind of looking at, you know, staying connected that way too. And we were just thinking about all these different things that we could do, and we stumbled upon bait making. You know, we saw some videos, and we talked to some people, and we kind of started really looking into it, and we're like, you know, that would be really cool. And obviously it connects our love of fishing with being, you know, hanging out with each other and doing something like that and building something from scratch. And one thing led to another, and I would say the whole process probably took about, I mean, I don't know, probably 6 months or so of like researching and doing our background kind of search and talking to people and watching videos and seeing, is it possible, and figuring out like what level do we want to do this at, you know, which direction do we want to go in, and we kind of set those foundational things up like right away. So by the time we got started in like June of 2020, we knew exactly what we wanted to do. We knew exactly what our goal was, and we knew exactly how to do it. And we've been kind of running and gunning ever since.
Wow. Okay, so let's go back a little bit. Yeah, first off, great story. And I'm the same way. I'll never forget going up to Hayward as a kid, catching bluegills off the dock, catching pike out with my dad, catching bass here and there, and just that feeling has never gone away from me. Like excitement on a hit, the excitement on watching your bobber go down, the excitement on. The other day I was fishing frogs in a big, thick, like a nasty, thick cheese mat because it's been so warm up here. By the way, sorry to my wife, Lola. She hates it. She's like, ugh. And a pike missed my frog by probably 1.5 feet, and just like whole body came out of the water, like dove over the lure, like all the way from like a foot away from it, all the way over it by like 2 feet. Never even got close to it. You know, like even like just funny little moments like that. It's never gone away where I'm like, oh my gosh, that was so cool. So I love hearing you say that. But you said you kind of knew what you wanted to do with the company. What was the initial goal? What was the initial thought with?
Yeah, when we first got started, we knew that we wanted to make a high quality product that we were going to be proud of, that we were going to fish ourselves, that we'd want to use. You know, if we were looking online and wanting to buy things, and we wanted to do it at a high level, and we wanted to make it as big as we can make it. right?
Okay.
I know that last part's a little bit, kind of gray, right? Like, what does that mean, right? But
Yeah.
we knew we didn't want to do it, kind of at the hobby level. And we also knew we didn't want to do it. Like, there's so many levels to bait making, like just like anything else, right? There's different levels of what are you trying to do with it? Are you trying to just do it in your garage and drink some beers and have some fun? Are you trying to make it for you and some friends? Are you trying to whatever? So there's different levels of entry points and cost and materials you can buy, for all those different levels. We knew right away, like, hey, we want to sell these. We want to create a brand. We want to create a community. So we're going right to the top to get the best plastic, the best colors, the best glitter, the best molds, things like that. Like, we knew that from the very beginning. We wanted to do it and do it at that level.
Yeah, I like that. That's impressive. And so, did you like you said you're doing research? Was the research? I mean, this is going to sound dumb. I don't know anything, so please, don't laugh. I guess you can laugh at me, but I mean, is research just like Googling stuff, or is it like searching? Like, were you figuring out formulas? Were you doing tours at other companies? Were you watching YouTube videos? Like, what were you getting into that gave you like not just the knowledge, but gave you the balls to be like, okay, I think we can do this now. We're ready.
Yeah, I mean, at first, it's the most basic thing you could do, right? Is just, hey, go on Google, go on YouTube, right? I mean, and just kind of see what's out there, what other people are doing. There's forums on Facebook and things like that are really awesome from bait makers. And then once we started to kind of see what the process was like, I mean, YouTube was huge because you could see the videos. There's a really great guy out of Florida. His name's Chris Jones. So shout out to Chris Jones, World's Worst Fishing. He was like super instrumental. He was one of the best he kind of started off kind of like us, wanting to do it as a business, and then he realized with other things in his life that he switched over more to the YouTube game, and he does some amazing videos and how-tos, and he's been very helpful whenever we reach out to him, message him. He always responds and gives us some really cool feedback. So we did a lot of that kind of research until we started to see who some of those players were and some people we can actually reach out to personally, and then started talking to them about hey, what does this really look like, right? Like, from when you're actually in it, what does it actually look like?
Just talking about it. Yeah,
right. And like, what are some of the obstacles and what are some of the challenges and what are some of those costs and just some of those things. We really started looking into that, and when we basically kind of put all that information together, we said, hey, let's do it. We're good to go. We had enough to at least get started, right? We know exactly which brands we wanted to use. We knew what kind of profiles we were looking at to start. We kind of had that first, step figured out. We had some connections in the fishing industry already, as far as just like, oh, I know, this guy who runs his own club, and I know this guy who has this bait shop. So we kind of thought too, like, okay, there's at least some natural connections that we do have that we can see eventually leading to more professional relationships.
Yeah.
So that definitely played into it as well. But once we had all that information, we're like, let's do it. So we got licensed, became an LLC in June of 2020.
Wow.
And bought our first round of molds and materials. And I would say the to get started, it probably cost us about $3,000. To kind of get started the way we got started, and then we were off and running since then.
Wow, dude. Okay, I'm sure you do too, Nate. I have so many questions, like specifics about that. Nate, you got anything you want to jump in right away, or can I fire away? What do you got?
Yeah, go ahead, shoot.
All right, the first one is Bigg Mouth Fishing. Where'd the name come from?
Yeah, we wanted to be a little bit different, and we were kind of thinking, and eventually it came into the play, like a bigmouth bass, right? And then we're like, well, let's be a little bit different, right? We're going big, so why not have it with two G's? And then we had all these ideas, and we actually had a friend of ours who was a graphic designer, and we kind of just were floating these ideas even before we had the name, and we kind of sketched it out a little bit, and then we had this idea of having part of the name be that fish hook you see in that second G.
Yeah.
So then Bigg Mouth Fishing just it fit perfectly, and then also we wanted to make sure that we weren't like bass specific. I mean, obviously, like, we specialize a lot in bass, but we also didn't want to make it where people would see the name and say, okay, hey, they're only selling bass stuff. They're only bass fishermen, which is not the case.
Yeah, clearly. Yeah, clearly. I mean, even paddle tail swim baits will catch pretty much anything that swims. And like you were talking about having that 3-incher, my goodness gracious, small swim bait.
Yeah.
Whether you do it on like a jig head minnow, do it on a drop shot, do it on a free rig, on a Tokyo rig, do it on a rig. I mean, that's a very slept on bad little motor scooter. I think it was maybe 2 years ago, somebody told me like, dude, you got to try like the smaller, like the 3, or is there a smaller one, a smaller Kitech than a 3-inch, or is that the smallest one, Nate?
Yeah, 2.8. There's a
2.8.
Yeah, they got a 2.8. Yeah.
That 2.8, like in the I think it's American shad or something like that, on a drop shot. I mean, good God, it's just the most natural looking thing in the water. A small little booty. I'm sure your 3 is exactly the same. Yeah, they're awesome. Okay, so the other question I have for you is, where in the process did you decide that you were going to throw all your eggs in the basket of soft plastics?
Pretty much immediately.
And why, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, just looking at, we just, when you look at making hard baits, there is a little bit of an artist background you kind of have to have for that. And a lot of those guys were some kind of painters, some kind of taxidermists. I mean, the good one. I mean, I'm not saying you can't learn that, but I'm just not artistic at all when it comes to that kind of skill.
Yeah.
And just that process is a little bit more complex, and you need a little bit more room for it. We were both doing this out of our own houses, in the garages and things like that. So we just thought soft plastics, and we also grew up like finesse fishing a ton. Not to say at all, I toss hard baits all the time, but it just seemed like it was a little bit of an easier point of entry for something that we do a lot of anyway. And we loved Senko fishing, we love paddle tail fishing, we love net fishing. I use a lot more jigs back in the day. I don't do them as much anymore, but the old jig and pigs with the old pork rind, remember those, like the actual pork rind?
Yeah.
No, those were pond killers. But like we just fish those types of baits all the time, and so that just seemed like it was a more natural point of entry for us.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. You remember those, Nate? Uncle Josh?
Oh yeah, Uncle Josh's. Yeah,
and
little real pork in a jar. Yeah, with the juice and
then if you left it on, after you were done fishing, it would dry up, and then you would have to cut off that whole.
Yeah, you had to like.
You couldn't use anymore.
Yeah, you couldn't pull it off. I mean, maybe if you got it wet, I don't know. But I remember as a kid, like going out the next day to my rod and reel, the jig, and like sawing that dried up pork rind off of there. But those things were dope. You know, Uncle Josh is from Wisconsin.
I did not know that, actually.
Yeah. So again, another Etsy thing. Etsy has all kinds of used stuff, and I'm a big fan of like old, like the shirt I have on, something special from Wisconsin. It's like a really old shirt, whatever. That old Evinrude motor, which I don't know if you knew this or not, Dan, but Evinrude is Latin for dog shit. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Yeah, you know what? I just caught that today. I wish I would have known, because I have an Evinrude on mine.
Sorry, I do too.
But I don't know. Mine's been pretty good.
Good. I'm glad yours has. I bet this one would run better on my boat than mine does. But anyway,
well, that's a classic. I mean, those things were made better back in the day. Mine's a 92 or 93. So
yeah, this is, I don't know what that is. This is very old. It's called a Fleetwind. Back when I used to work at a boat place, a guy traded in 2 of those, and we were like, well, we can't really pay you for these because we can't do anything with them. He's like, well, I'll just take them. And we were like, okay. And then I'm like, dude, can I have those? And my manager was like, yeah, I don't care. And so I gave Nate one, and I took one. I'm like, they're just so cool. Yeah. And I remember these as a kid, like pole starting it, out on like up in Hayward, and like just big puff of smoke, and it just smelled so good. And
yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, on Etsy you can find like vintage old stuff, and I found an old Uncle Josh like patch hat. I didn't buy it, but I should. And it said like, I can't remember what the city was, something or other, Wisconsin. I was like, I didn't know Uncle Josh was from Wisconsin. That's dope, dude. It makes me like it even more. But anywho, Nate, what do you got, man? I know you got some questions brewing. I have so many, but I don't want to steal all the time.
Yeah, no, you're good. So you said your initial startup cost was around $3,000, which that's a pretty sizely startup cost, which I think is perfect for kind of the scale that you were talking you wanted to be at, at startup. What were the baits that you started with, the molds?
Yeah, so when we first started, I was actually thinking about this earlier today, because you kind of forget some things along the way. But we definitely started off with we wanted to have a kind of enough variety to get us started and to have a good foundation. So we started off with our Senkos. We started off with our like shaky head finesse worms. We started off with craws and we started off with curly tail grubs. We just wanted enough variety, enough choices for people, and depending on what they like to fish, and we thought that was really a good way to go. And then obviously throughout the years we've added and added. I think Neds came about a year later. They came pretty early on. And then now we're up to, gosh, probably 8 or so products, 9 products maybe.
And the newest is
the urchin.
The urchin.
Yeah, where ours is 2.5 inch. So we got that brewing. So we're working on. We have the boxes available right now where people we have kind of preset boxes made. That's not to say if people message me and say, hey, can you make me a custom box with this and this? That's no problem for me.
Yeah.
So we got the 9 count or the 12 count. It comes with free shipping. The big ones like you got up there right now, they come with a free decal as well. So they're really cool. We're really excited about that. We're just trying to also figure out packaging on a smaller scale, just because we do realize, like $45, well, we would try to provide a great value. That is a heavier price for some people. And we also want to make sure that we're hitting all of our anglers and things like that. So we're working on smaller batch options right now too.
Okay. But can I just tell you that, can I just lovingly, I know I don't know you very well yet, but can I just tell you to shut up? Just shut up. Do you know what people are charging for urchin baits?
I know what they're charging. I know what they're charging.
Lambo box with a decal for $45. I don't think you need to worry about your pricing, Dan.
And free shipping, don't forget.
And that's crazy talk, dude. And they look dope. And to me, the thing that got me really excited about it, again, for me, the whole reason I really wanted you on the show, and I love supporting smaller lure companies. I think that's the coolest thing. Like we had our buddy Jason from Stinky Pants on a couple of years back. And he's in Bass Pro and stuff now, but whatever. Anyway, He wasn't back then. But anywho, I love seeing companies that are small that I can believe in and blah, blah, blah. But for you specifically, your colors are freaking ridiculous. So then to see the way that you do colors and then have that in a urchin, that's bananas. Like, dude, I don't have any, but I need to get some. They're freaking dope, dude. So I don't think you really need to worry about pricing. I just think you need to worry about getting the word out there more. And yeah, we were talking about it before we hit record, but like so much of the urchin world is just batshit crazy obsessed with how to package, how to store, how to keep them from, and it's not, in my experience, and I have 2 now of the actual koikis. I don't have any full casts. I don't know. I know people catch stuff on them. I just think they're too big. I think they look so stupid. Whatever. They obviously work. But I have 2 of like the whatever it is. What is it? 20 mil? Is that the standard size, Nate? 17 mil?
17's the step down from the full cast. Yeah.
2 of the 17s, and I have a absolute boatload of. I didn't even realize how many I ordered from Temu of the 17s, and I guarantee you, like I would bet you money if you had like Brian New or I don't know who else is like what's his nuts, Bank Shaw or whoever, like urchin geniuses, urchin experts. If you had them feel like with their eyes closed, which is which, they would not be able to tell the difference between a Temu and a full cat or and a koiki. I really actually believe that. But anyway, I have 2 koikis that have been sitting in the bottom of my rod locker. Well, one's a koiki, one's a Temu one, sitting in the bottom of my rod locker, getting squished by my rods, squished by reels for like months. I pulled one out the other day and it was perfect. It wasn't bent up. It wasn't misshapen. It wasn't warped. I think somewhere along the line, somebody sold us some snake oil and we all bit into it and said, yeah, that's because I don't know that it's true. Now, obviously with TPE stuff, you do have to be careful on how you store it with other stuff because it absolutely can, like Spro flapping frogs and stuff. They can mess up your other plastics, but I don't think they get as warped as people think they do. Sorry for the long question, but what do you think, Dan?
Yeah, I think in my limited experience with these, but just, obviously just working with all of our other baits, right? It's really about the plastic curing properly and settling properly, right? So usually, I can probably get away with most baits, especially if you're talking like stick baits or nets where they're one shape. Like a day, full 24 hours of sitting out and setting, curing properly before you bag them. For the urchins, I give them about 2 or 3. Because you really want, it's really the tentacles that are the problem. mean, the ball is it's not gonna change. It's a ball, right? But it's the tentacles that if you set it out crooked, or if you set it out wrong, or if it's bent a certain way, it's gonna set like that.
Yeah,
we experience that with our ice fishing plastics, because we have like little like 3/4 of an inch to an inch and a half, and I just hate dealing with them because they're just such a pain in the butt. Where like you take them out of the mold and they're already messed up, and then you got to try to straighten them out and things like that. And I've actually learned from people, and like just like the fish don't care. I mean, like in blue, like those little, they're a little 3/4 inch. People are putting them on like their little tungsten head anyway, and like the bluegill, they want a little wiggle to it. It's like they don't even care. But that's really what you're trying to avoid, is if you set it up crooked, it's gonna set crooked, right? But I think personally, like if you cure it properly and you shipped it out, now granted you can't control what happens during shipping, right? So that's where I think sometimes that packaging, that's where it's beneficial. But a lot of it too, it just comes from the sales side of things. When you go to a store, and now with social media, everyone out there is seeing what these big brands are doing, right? So it's, that's what customers, when they go to Bass Pro and they see all these things lined up, they see how these things are packaged, how they're put together. That's kind of the standard for what they expect it in. So, and as a store too, right? I mean, would you rather have this in a little, dime bag, or would you like to have this in a nice container where you can have 2 or 3 of them? It's got a nice sticker on it, and you know what I mean? It's that kind of, that matters too from a store perspective, is how you present your product. And we've definitely learned that along the way. When we do our shows in the winter, but the question that leads to is then, well, okay, packaging is an extra cost. Consumers, buyers, they want this nice packaging, but then they don't even realize that they're eating the cost.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. That's what you just said is very smart and very spot on. Wouldn't you agree, Nate?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's packaging is a big deal for sure, but a lot of people, I would think, would want to pay the right money for the right product, and not so much for the packaging. Like the what's that, the amoeba or whatever it is.
Yeah, with that
gigantic
box.
Yeah, that gigantic tube thing that it comes in.
Yeah. I was at Shields the other day, and I looked at amoeba and it fell apart. I didn't even touch it. I looked at it. Great. Like, no diss. I have such a weird like bugaboo about Berkley, because they're just such a huge company. And when I was younger, power bait was it. Power bait was everything, like that smell. And now I just feel like all they do is rip off other companies' baits and shapes and lures and whatever. And then like, I totally get the max scent power bait in a urchin. Like that makes logical sense, but you also made one that's super not durable, and it just falls apart, and you're paying the same prices you'd pay for whatever, a uni or a whatever what's that 6th Sense one called again? The Abstract. I don't understand that. And here we have Dan from Bigg Mouth Fishing, biggmouthfishing.com, offering 12 of them and a whole bunch of different configurations. There's like 4 different options of color variations you can get in this box. 12 of them for $45. And then hold up, Dan, hold that urchin up again, would you, real quick?
I got a different one right here.
Look at the thing. I mean, that sucker, like those little tentacles are, limp.
I got a purple flake on there. There you go.
I mean, that's filthy. What color is that right there?
This is our green pumpkin bluegill. This is one of our OG, and we call it the big 3. It's bluegill, midnight leech, and royal. And those are usually our top 3 in every product, every year, every all time. That's our bluegill.
Filthy.
And then we came out too, like the smaller box of 9. We call it the rage bait box, and it's all, there's no glitter and all. They're all neon colors to piss off those smallies.
Smallmouth.
And you can choose the 3 colors. So it's nine urchins total. You get 3 colors. You get to choose between neon white, neon pink, orange, lime, chartreuse, and did I say pink? I'm probably forgetting one. Yeah. But yeah, there's 9 in the box. You get to choose your 3 colors.
That's a great name too, Rage Bait. That's a great.
Yeah, it is. That's awesome.
That is how they get really bright colored stuff. It's like they just want to knock the snot out of it.
Yeah, they do. I mean, they're already angry as it is. But like when I talk to all of my northern anglers, like in clear water, it's like they swear by
I do.
Just hot pink, hot
Yep.
orange, hot like, and they all swear by it. So we came out with that. So that's been really cool. I think we got one left right now, and it's time to start making some more, and it's time to restock.
That's brilliant. Dan, have you seen the iCast stuff, the new Strike King one with like the kind of like how you're doing the Cincos with the tip on the tail, but the new urchin that has tips that are all chartreusey and stuff?
You know what? I haven't seen the iCast stuff yet from this year. I know I just started seeing some posts pop up about it. I have seen that design though in some of the bait making communities I'm a part of. I have seen that.
Yeah.
Um, it's a pretty cool and interesting idea. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where you're always finding a balance of catching the fish versus catching the angler, and there's a little bit of both in there. But I mean, I'm a big believer in contrast anyway in baits. I know you like those tipped, those tipped Senkos. There's something to it. I can guarantee you when I'm using my green pumpkin with my chartreuse tip Senko, I will put money on it that I will catch a pike on that trip, because I don't know if it's the chartreuse or the green pumpkin, but I'll put money on it every time I go out with that bait. If there's a pike there, I'll catch him.
Yeah, I can't find it now. Yeah, no, I agree that I don't know what it is. Nate, you like them too, right? You like the Yamamoto Cincos that are green pumpkin chartreuse, right?
Yeah, that's my hands down my favorite color, all time favorite color.
It's been mine.
Yeah.
What do you got there, Dan? You got any good Cinco colors you can show us?
I got some. I got a couple from our shows last year. I don't have the ones you're talking about, but I have a couple that we made for whenever we do our show season. We do. I'll look them out of the bag. We do custom colors just to kind of play around with stuff and be able to show people what we can do. So I got a really cool.
Ooh.
I like that a lot.
It's like a dark purple. It's got the yellow tip on it. It's a cool flake to it.
Oof.
But yeah, but honestly, I think that green pumpkin chartreuse is probably one of the most slept on colors in our lineup. I wish more people would buy it.
I don't.
It's just such a great color.
Oh, dude, for straight rigging a Cinco, for Texas rigging a Cinco, for wacky rigging a Cinco, that tail flick color, it makes a difference. It actually does.
I got some other ones right here too. By the way, too, if I can do a little plug right now, is right now, well, it's currently this week, but I can extend it until next week too, is all of the
nice.
We do custom colors, so you can make your own stuff on the website. All of those are 20% off right now.
For all colors?
For all the make your own. Yeah. So you can basically hop on there for any product you want. You can go, you can go on the stick bait page, you click on make your own. It's like the first or second option, and it asks you what color you want. What glitters do you want? It's up to 3 glitters. And then we also just started adding a tail option too. So you can add a certain color tail to it.
Ooh, that's exciting. Because especially like if you fish tournaments, I don't know. I don't know too many anglers who fish tournaments who don't already know or don't already utilize. If it's a struggle, a wacky or a Nico rig is like, for me, is like your bailout bait. For me, or like a drop shot with like a like a robo worm or something like that, like a morning dawn robo worm or whatever. But anyway, usually it's a Cinco or a Nico. So if you can custom make a color that you think the fish haven't seen, especially up here in the north with small jaws, and throw something weird in there, that's exciting. And right now, you heard it here, biggmouthfishing.com, 20% off. And just so y'all know, Bigg Mouth is not a sponsor of ours. They're not, tied into Tackling Tacos. I literally wanted to have Dan on because I was so impressed with his lures. And then when I got them in hand, I was more impressed. All right. Like giving my endorsement. I was more impressed after seeing them, after fishing with them. They actually work. In that derby up in Hayward, I was struggling the first day on the Chippewa flowage, and I threw on the bait that I always joke about that I never throw, and every time I throw it I catch fish on it, which is a micro jig, like a Z-Man micro jig or a Giltech finesse jig, something really small. And I always just put a piece of a Cinco on the back. It just makes sense. It's small, but it adds a little weight, adds a little bit of flash. And I put on a Bigg Mouth Fishing stick bait, and I got absolutely clobbered senseless on them.
Nice.
They're good baits. Like they're actually good fishing baits. So biggmouthfishing.com, especially if you want to go custom. Nate, right now, top of your head, you're gonna make a stick bait in a custom color. What do? Go.
Well, I guess, man, so that's really tough.
On the spot.
I'm gonna have to go with like a green pumpkin or a watermelon, and then I don't know. I don't know if you do it, Dan, but I really like those like kind of like the like pearlescent powder that like swirls and
Oh,
doesn't totally mix in. What I guess I can't really think of what it's called. I'm not the bait maker like you, but
Yeah, we got some pearls. They all work a little bit differently, so you can use them kind of as like an added color, or you can use them as like as a main color. So like I have like it's hard to see that's like the gold. I know it's a
mhm,
little bit bright over here, but
mhm.
I got a gold pearl. We got gold, silver, green, purple. Um, yeah, we got some pearls, man. So if you can think of
yeah.
something, then you
I,
have us make it up for you, and I'll send it over.
Yeah, I would think like a watermelon or something of that nature with like an orange pearl like swirl in it, and maybe some gold fleck. I think that'd be pretty dirty.
I like that.
Okay.
A good
Yeah,
You're talking some crazy things there. I like to hear it.
yeah,
But that's what's
and
so
that
cool
that
about the custom stuff, though, because you get to see what people can think of, and there's a lot of times that like we're so busy that we don't get to play around with stuff as much as we like. So it's really
Ah,
cool when those things come in because like it allows us to see what our anglers want, and then it allows us to kind of push ourselves to figure out how these different colors react. Because we have recipes for things, but like you just mentioned right there, like if I put in gold into a green pumpkin base color, it lightens up the
mhm.
green pumpkin.
sure.
So it's like you kind of try to figure out like what is the angler really looking for, and obviously they're going off some of our colors that they see on the website, and I have to kind of realize how they're going to react to different things they're trying to put in there. So I can use the same amount of colorant for a green pumpkin, whatever, but if I put gold in there, it's going to make it a lighter color. If I put in like the smoke, any kind of smoke flake, it darkens it up, right? So it's kind of cool to play around with that from the creative side of things, and also try to figure out what anglers are really looking for.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
that's some scientist stuff. One thing I always wanted to try is a reverse basically of that Cinco. I thought it'd be kind of dope to do like an all chartreuse stick bait with like a green pumpkin tail, which I know is like obnoxiously bright, but for a smallmouth, like I've caught most people don't really talk about it a lot. But I've caught so many smallmouth cutting a Cinco, like a Cinco Yamamoto Cinco down to like a 3.5 ish, and then drop shotting it like a wacky rig. I have caught so many smallmouth doing that. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I think if you combined like a smaller size wacky rig Cinco on a drop shot, if you follow me, but in like a nasty bright color, I think that'd be lights out. I think the smallmouth would just kill it. You know what I mean? Like I just think they would. I don't know.
Well, we do have the drop shot minnow. We do have
Okay.
that, but
Okay.
it's 3.5 inch. So look at that. It's actually 3.6. I can't lie. But it is a drop shot minnow where it's like the KVD Dream Shots
Yeah.
where it's like it's
Yeah.
flat on the bottom, right? That's exactly what that is. So it looks like a little leech.
Yep.
And again, we got the colors, man. So you want it, I'll make it for you.
Yeah, that'd be dope. I would love that. That'd be really fun for sure.
Yeah.
Well, let's switch gears a little bit because we could talk about this all day, colors and whatever. Let me ask you this one more color question, if that's okay.
Yeah.
You got two, Nate?
I do. I got one. Yeah.
You go first. You go first. I'll ask mine next.
So with the custom deal, has anybody come to you with like a color combo or an idea that you've just been like, yeah, I can't do that. Like you've given it some tries and it just doesn't turn out.
I mean, sometimes like when people that might happen more or less when someone's trying to like recreate a bait from like 20 years ago, and like, oh hey, this one brand that never doesn't exist, they made this one really and they'll send me a picture of it.
Yeah.
And I'll kind of look at it, and obviously it helps if I have the bait, live in person. But if it's a really good picture, I can look at it. And again, having done this now for 6 years, I kind of know what our colors are and what we can kind of do and blend together. I'll usually be pretty honest with people right away, saying like, "Hey, there's no chance, right? Like I just know I don't have the color, or I just can't. I've tried it before, I can't make it happen." Or I might, know that there's a color that exists out there. And I might tell them, "Hey, let me go buy it and let me play around with it."
Mhm.
But that doesn't happen too often. Most of the time, honestly, like especially with how I've set it up on the website, is it's all colors that I know exactly what they're going to do. So when people go on there, it's like I'm not guessing at like I know
Yeah.
exactly
Right.
what each color is going to do. The only and I try to protect people from themselves too, because like I'll like for the stick baits, I've only optioned out where it's like you can only choose 4 or 5 tails tail options, because I just know there's ideas out there that people will have, but I know they're not going to work. Like,
Yeah.
like it's like sometimes when you're working with tails like that and you're working with a dark color and another color, if they're too similar, it doesn't work. Some colors bleed more than others, so I know that's not going to work. And we've done the same thing with core shots too. Like you can make your own cores.
Oh, hold on, hold that up. God heaven, look at that thing. Oh my God!
Like you say, it actually looks cooler in person because it's got a little bit more of a green hue to it.
Look at that thing.
This is our #1 seller every year. Watermelon slice.
Oh, filthy! What is it called?
Watermelon slice.
Watermelon slice. Jeez, that's dope. Put your hand behind that. Do the YouTube thing. Look at that thing, dude.
Yeah, there it is. That is rad.
In stick baits or neds. But like, so what we've done on the make your own core shots is like we only allow you to choose the colors that we know are going to work well, because with core shots you really have to have that contrast.
Sure, yeah.
I can't do a blue core and in a dark blue outside, or I can't do like a black whatever. So you got to kind of protect people from themselves.
Sure.
So we've definitely kind of created it, with that in mind. So people, they know when they buy something with us and they're using their hard-earned money, it's going to come out really awesome, and we're going to love it. And then we'll get to play around, like for the show season, we'll start making some stuff where it's like, hey, we really want to play around with an idea. And my brother, honestly, he's really the artist when it comes to most of the cool stuff you see. Like he's the artist.
Oh my goodness, Nate! Look at that thing.
Yeah.
What's that, like cotton candy or something? What do you call that?
You know what? We don't have a name for this one. It's one of our show specials. I was kind of thinking icy blue.
Yeah. Gosh. Disgusting.
Yeah. So he's the artist, but yeah, you can make your own. And like you said, I mean, some people just want that extra advantage. Some people just want to be part of that process and say, hey, you know what? Like I have this idea and we'll make it come to life. But there's a lot of different reasons why people, want to make their own. So we love doing that and being a part of that process with them.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Dan, are you or is it your brother? I guess is kind of what you just said. But are you a tinkerer? How do you come up with the colors that you have? Is it like I'm a grown man? And unfortunately for me, one of the best ways I learn is by messing stuff up until I get it right. Is that part of the process with making specific colors, or how do you come up?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, definitely is part of the process, I mean, and whether I like it or not, like, I think it frustrates me more. Like my brother's definitely more of the tinkerer. Like he just was always like, playing with things and understanding how things work and doing like always as a kid, you know what I mean? Where I'm a little bit more impatient, you know what I mean? And so I'm doing a lot more of the business stuff. I feel like if I make a mistake when I'm pouring something, I get frustrated, like I'm wasting time. You know what I mean? Where he's very much like, oh, I'm going to try this, or I want to try that. And he's definitely better when it comes to that. But yeah, a lot of it's trial and error. A lot of it is, we have this idea and it's not going to be a one and done. Most of the time it's going to take a little bit of time to get it right.
Yeah. And then once you get it right, you must be like, what did Notorious B.I.G. say on that song, Triple Beam Lyrical Dream? Like, are you like hyper calculated weight wise and stuff so that once you get it the way you want it, you can reproduce it? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We have recipes for everything.
Okay. So you're writing it down beforehand. It hits exactly how you want. And you go, this is the juice, this right here, this formula.
Yeah. And then obviously you can get creative from that too. Like, especially when it comes to the custom stuff, you kind of start to understand and learn, like, each color is going to have kind of a range of what it can do. Right. Sure. So you kind of start learning what the numbers are depending on how much you're working with and how many ounces of plastic you're working with. So like 40 is a pretty good base number for us, like 40 drops of our colorant. Like that's like for most baseline stuff, 40 is kind of that magic number. Mm-hmm. So I know if I want to make it lighter, if I want to make it more translucent, I'm probably going like 20 drops. If I usually, again, each color kind of maxes out where you can put in 50 or you can put in 200 and it's going to stay the same. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You could add a couple colors together. Like I know if I add 1 or 2 drops of black, it's going to darken it up depending on what glitter I'm putting in. So yeah, we have recipes for all of everything you see on the website has a recipe. But yeah, obviously when it comes into the custom stuff, it's kind of playing around with that a little bit more. And as we're getting into like new colors, we're always trying to see what else is out there and kind of make changes to certain things. And we've changed recipes over the years where we realize like, hey, this is a really cool idea. It's just not selling. It's
Sure.
just not working. So can we edit it or alter it a little bit, or just get rid of it completely and stop wasting time.
Yeah, golly. To me, to what you're saying sounds really fun because I'm a tinkerer too. I can't help it. I love messing with stuff, and then I love seeing when I look at a bait like that watermelon slice. That in my brain, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's like a tinkerer's like dream. It just looks like a whole bunch of different things in one. You know what I'm saying? Like I love that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love what you're saying right now for sure. Let me ask you this, and this wasn't one that I planned on asking, but like, we've had and we're friends with a guy named Dan. He owns Great Lakes Finesse, and I think they have some of the coolest soft plastics out there, and like even the way that they like all of their stuff is matte finish. And he told the story on our podcast about when they were younger and they were fishing derbies and like up in Canada waters where they fish, it's just gin clear to like 30 feet, whatever. Yep. And how the night before they'd be using like 300 grit sandpaper, like ultra fine sandpaper, and like roughing all the shine off of all their plastics and whatever. And I don't know, I like seeing like different approaches. I guess I still am. This is a roundabout question. Hopefully I get there. Hopefully this makes sense. I have ADD times 11 in my brain, so I'm sorry. Somebody's got to try and track with me here. But I remember when I used to listen to more hip hop, and I still really like hip hop music, but my favorite rappers were the ones who weren't necessarily saying something like a totally different topic. They were just approaching it in a way that was a little different, like Outkast back in the day. They were saying the same crap as everybody else, but they were doing it a little more clever, just a little bit different. And it made it kind of pop. Great Lakes Finesse, essentially, I know they have some stuff now like with the spy bait and whatever, but Great Lakes Finesse is essentially just a plastics company, but they're doing things a little bit different. Bigg Mouth Fishing, y'all are a soft plastics company, but y'all's colors are something a little bit different. Here's the question, I'm bringing it home now. Are you looking around at other companies, seeing what they're doing, drawing influence, or are you trying to stay completely in your lane?
Well, I mean, I think when you look at any industry, like whether you're trying to intentionally copy or not, right? Like I think there's some of it that is naturally, like, hey, every single brand out there is going to have a green pumpkin. You know what I mean? Now it depends on what you do with it, right? Like it depends on what you wanna do with it. But a lot of times we just wanted to have a cool arrangement of colors for any type of water, right? Hey, clear water, what would I throw? Oh, hey, I used to fish Northwoods, for smallmouth in spring up in Monaco, and what colors worked well for me, right? Mm-hmm. So a lot of that was kind of the influence, but obviously, yeah, I mean, you kind of start to see some things out there and what you can do and what you can't do, and you still want to be original to yourself at the same time. And there's a lot of cool colors that we wanted to also like pay tribute to, of like, oh, hey, these are some really classic colors that everybody knows. Like, let's do our take on it, right? Yeah. Like cotton candy is, I mean, if you're up north or if you're ever fishing like Michigan or whatever, that's all I ever heard of as a kid. I mean, I remember growing up, I was 10 years old. We were fishing somewhere offshore, and I was just catching smallmouth after smallmouth after smallmouth on just a cotton candy grub.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So we're like, hey, let's take some of these kind of classic colors that have some of that name recognition, and let's make them our own. So we made our holographic candy, and it's got green, it's got purple and holographic flake, and it actually turns out more green than pink, like the original.
Okay. Yeah.
So we do things that way too, and then we also listen to our anglers and what they want. Like for years, actually, the one you were holding up at the beginning of the show, that's probably the firecracker. It's got smoke flake. It's got silver flake, red flake, and blue flake. And that's one that we never originally had. And year after year, when we were doing our shows in the winter, all the old timers were asking for that color. Hey, you got this one, you got this one. And so eventually we're like, okay, let's make it. And I think we probably brought it in 2.5-3 years ago, and it's been in our top 10 sales ever since. Okay. And that's just that's just like listening to people and what they wanted, and that's just something that was missing from our inventory. And so we do it that way too. So I know I kind of gave you a roundabout answer, because I mean, certainly a lot of it is original and a lot of it is cool. I mean, I don't see anybody that did this. And I'll be honest with you, and I've seen people do it since us, and I'm not like really? I'm not gonna here to say like that we're the ones that invented this. You know what I mean? But like I see it out there now, and I see it's from some people that that have followed us, but I can tell you that I don't see people doing it as good as us.
I like that. Yeah, I like that confidence. And I really, Dan, I'm impressed by the fact that you had some folks talking to you, because it's real easy to be like, no, we're doing our thing. This is Bigg Mouth Fishing. We're doing something different. And some old timers were like, yo, you need a color like this. And you're like, all right, let's try it. I love it. Because there is like, like there is no such thing as creating anything in a vacuum. No, I don't care if it's painting, music, poetry, lures, anything. There's no such thing. Everybody's influenced somewhere along the lines. And so to completely deny it is baloney. But you could also go so far as like when Zaldane dropped the Zaldangerous swim bait and pretended like it was something new. And I'm not trying to hate, but like, that's the mag draft with a Z on it. Like, dude, come on.
Right.
Whatever. And I like Zaldane a lot, actually. And I actually don't even have a problem with him putting that bait out. But when you start to pretend like it's not what it is, that's when I get kind of annoyed by it. But yeah, I respect your whole angle on it, dude.
And technology is getting better and better. But like when you really look at the possibilities, like when you're looking at things, at our scale, and doing this ourselves and doing this out of the garage and things like that, there's only a limited amount of molding out there and shapes out there and designs out there. And now, like the bait making industry with that JDM market is, that's influencing us a little bit too, of all these crazy patterns and crazy designs and crazy this. And, okay, that's all really good. And that probably all catches fish too. But for someone that's the size that we are, it's like, well, all that stuff costs money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, and we actually expanded our core shop market because they sell so well and it takes so much longer to make them. But I mean, each mold costs us probably $175, and that's for the mass produced kind of stuff. You're talking about custom molding, you're talking $300-400 a pop.
Yeah, they take a long time to get back, and
and you really have to trust who's making it, and you have to have that kind of relationship too, because again, just like anything, that's not all created equal, and you kind of have to make those decisions as a brand. So we, like to your point earlier, we decided, hey, we're not revolutionizing or changing the industry with something no one's ever seen before through the style of product, but can we do it with our colors? Can we do it with the quality? Can we do it with the community? And even after everything we offer, Senko's our number one seller.
Is it really?
So, yeah. I mean, it's probably 55-60%. No, maybe not as much. Wow. I would say whenever I do the numbers, it's always Senko's, Ned's, and swim baits. I call those kind of the big three. Those are usually about 70% of our sales.
Okay. Do you have in front of you? You don't. Somebody just look it up on your phone or computer or whatever. Do you have a rusty craw color in front of you?
Rust craw. I probably don't.
So
it's a really cool color. It changes. No.
It's ridiculous. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's like a crawfish colored brownish whatever with flake, but it's also got some blue. And when you just like I did a short on the one you gave me, like that purple to brown color.
That's chameleon there too.
Chameleon. But the rust craw, it goes from like brown to like blue. So like when you look at your hand, it's like a brown color. You hold it up to the light and it's translucent blue. It's ridiculous. He doesn't have one in front of him. So if you're on YouTube or if you're listening to it, Google it, go to Bigg Mouth Fishing, look for rust craw. It is nasty color. How did you come up with those color changing colors?
So, it's, the short answer is there's pigments, there's colorant that changes naturally. Right. So we buy that kind of pigment, and I think it's called blue craw or something like that. But then the trick is then figuring out, okay, this is exactly, the kind of the amount I want it to change. These are the glitters I'm adding to it, right? Because again, we've kind of established that glitter will definitely impact what your color looks like. So then it really comes into that finding that recipe of this is exactly what we want it to look like. This is exactly what we're adding to it. This is what we want it to change to. And that's where you have to kind of play around with it when it comes to those recipes.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense for sure. But I mean, I guess one of my questions too is like, how'd you even come up with that idea? Because I hadn't really seen that before.
Well, I mean, just when we go through the vendors that we go through and see the things that they offer, and we're always, again, a lot of times what I like to do is I'll like to, whenever I'm doing the purchasing, I'll always get the stuff that we have to order, and then I'll try to find something that I really like or something that we don't currently have or whatever, and I'll just add it to the cart, and then I'll usually send it over to my brother, and I'll say, hey, you're getting a surprise in that order. figure something out. So he's usually the one kind of playing around and kind of really messing with those really cool new colors because he likes to tinker. But we just, yeah, I mean, I go through kind of our vendors and what's out there and what we want to get into. And I got, for all the stuff we put out, there's stuff that I have that's never even seen the water yet because I'm still there you go. So you can even see like the body's got that dark brown color, and then the tentacles, the claws are that blue, which is it works. It'll work in all of our baits. You know what I mean? But like you can especially see it in baits like that where the body is thicker than the other part of the bait, because then
the translucence kind of shines through
the blue is coming out because there's just less material there, so the blue's coming out more when it hits the light.
Yeah, if you're on YouTube right now, you should. If you're a bass fisherman, you should be drooling. That is such a disgusting color, and there's some
smallmouth guys love it.
Well, every bass that swims, what is the original color like that, Nate? Okeechobee craw, is that what that brown blue is usually, or is that Bama craw?
Something close to that, yeah.
Yeah, there's something about that color. Like when I throw jigs and I have like a brownish bluish hue, like on like a Beast Coast, and then throw like a Rage Craw or a Rage Menace in that kind of bluish brownish craw color. It's just the filthiest combo. Works in mud, works in clear water, whatever. This creature that I'm looking at right now from Bigg Mouth Fishing is a whole different take on it. A whole different take. You know what I mean? Because you could have a painting and you could have half the painting be black and half the painting be white. It's how you spread it around that makes it look different. This is a whole different creature. The Bigg Mouth Fishing rust craw color. Good Jesus in heaven, that's filthy. I mean, that's just as a bass guy who's obsessed with fishing lures, that's just exciting to look at. You agree, Nate?
Yeah, that's really dope. Yeah, I need to get some of those for sure.
Some of them. I need me some of them. Those Dems is nasty. But all right, let's do it real fast because we're running out of time. Let's do the hypothetical game. We created a theme song. I got one, and then Nate's got one for this is what's going on, and then you tell us how you respond. All right.
Hypothetical game, made up fishing situations. Hypothetical beat.
It might be a little long. The theme song might be too long.
We give scenario. You give advice. Hypothetical, so fine, made up fishing, fishy.
All right, hypothetical game. We give scenarios, you give advice. Here's my hypothetical situation, and it's not even that hypothetical. It's kind of real life, but you tell me how you respond to it. At one point in fishing, the Ned rig was the greatest rig to ever be thrown. And then there was a time where, Alabama rig was going to shut down the world. Is that a Bigg Mouth bait right there, Nate?
It is, yes.
Disgusting.
It is. One of our Mardi Gras ones looks like.
Gosh, his colors. Anyway, all right. There was a time where, like the banjo minnow. People were like, oh my gosh, it's going to change fishing. And then it was this thing called the jig head minnow. And then now it's this thing called an urchin. And like the guy who invented the urchin bait, he calls it perpetual motion. So something that's always moving, whether you mean to or not. The hypothetical question I have for you, Dan, is as a guy who is not the size, and this is not a diss on any level whatsoever, you're not the size of Strike King or, whoever else.
Not yet.
Yeah, you'll get there for real. Berkeley, whatever. How do you decide? You look at these things that are popping off. How do you decide, like, okay, I want to invest in that. I want to try something like that, or like, no, that's not for us.
Yeah, that's a great question that we ask ourselves a lot, and we finally pull the trigger with the urchin. We look at, a couple different things. What's the cost of getting into it? Or the realistic, realistic ability of getting into it, right? And for a while, they just weren't. Do we think it's going to sell now, in a year, and 10 years? You know what I mean? And what other projects do we currently have going on right now that can we devote time to this? And if all three of those things are yes, and yes, then we're we're all good to go. So that's what happened with the urchin. We think it's going to stick around. We got access to it, and we had the time and the money to get into it. So that's why we did it.
Yeah, that's a really good answer. That's awesome. Appreciate that. Nate, what you got?
Yeah, so hypothetical. We're gonna run with it's this time of year. You're gonna be fishing a river system that you are not familiar with, and you have like let's say you practice 2 or 3 days in advance. You start throwing some plastics, and you are not having any luck with what's in your boat. We're talking shallow, slightly muddy from some rain or some approaching rain, and vegetation of some sort. What color are you going to mix up because what you have isn't working?
I like that.
For me, it's royal purple. It's almost like the color of your microphone there, Jordan. Purple to me, it's any kind of water, clear, dirty, whatever, stained, algae bloom, any time of year, any time of species. To me, I'm going with kind of a neon purple.
Huh? Is that a common one for you selling on your website too? Oh, here it is.
Yep, it's in our big three.
Okay. Do you have one there in front of you? Oh, perfect. Yeah, look at that thing.
That's
good.
That's rad.
That mother effer is glowing.
This thing is awesome, and it's
absolutely
really
not a color I would have thought you would have picked. But
no,
I really like that.
It's like if I was doing some kind of hypothetical, you got 1 hour to catch whatever fish for $1 million. I'm throwing that purple.
Hold that back up, Dan. I want to see that again.
Yeah. Let me see if I have a different product. I don't think so. I got it just in the.
So it's purple. It's like a bright purple with a blue flake. Am I saying that wrong? Royal flake.
Yeah, it's got royal blue flake. Actually, it's called
in the purple. Dang, that's
in the purple.
Thick.
Yeah, that looks awesome.
I mean, largemouth, smallmouth, walleye, pike. I mean, it catches everything. That's in our big three. That's what I'm throwing. Hypothetical and in reality.
And I'd really like to, and you do have that on the website. That's where I found it first on BiggMouthFishing.com. I found it on the stick bait on the Cinco. That has to just be disgusting as far as like drawing power. A color.
It's awesome. And honestly, like the big three, we have them available in every single product because they're so universal. Where some other colors are a little bit more product specific. Those big three you can find it in all of our products.
Dang, that's dope, dude. Yeah, that was a good question. It was really specific. I was surprised that he came up with it, the purple so quickly, because that was a very specific answer or a very specific question.
Hypothetical game.
All right. So that was a hypothetical game. That was really fun. And I like the theme song, but it's a little long. But anyway.
Catchy though.
It's cute. You know what I'm saying? Well, let's hit you with like just a couple more questions and we'll get you out of here. We got a skedaddle as well. What I want to know is, you sort of answered this, but I'm going to ask the question with a little bit of a spin to it. If you, Dan, right now, I don't know what you believe in, like religiously or no religious beliefs or whatever. I'm not even asking you that. But, if it was God, if you found a genie lamp like in the movie Aladdin, if Elon Musk came to you and was like, hey, where do you want this thing to go? I'll make it happen. You can snap your fingers. Where is Bigg Mouth Fishing in, let's say, 5 years?
I mean, I think it's our goal when we first started, and it's still our goal today, is we want to make this as big as possible, right? Without losing the quality that we care about and the values that we care about, and just doing this for our anglers. We've always been driven by that. Like to me, it's so cool to be able to make something that people all over the US are actually using and actually buying and actually sending us pictures with. And it's like, that's really, to build this from the ground up like that has been really amazing. So, we're doing shows every year. We work with about 9 or 10 small mom and pop shops right now, but that's not our ceiling. You know what I mean? Like, we're looking to make it as big as possible, as long as we can be in charge of the things that are important to us and maintain that.
That's a great answer. That was a really good answer.
That's awesome.
But I really like too, speaking of mom and pop shops and getting emails or whatever with pictures from your lures on your website on BiggMouthFishing.com. Right on the header, there is BiggMouthFishing@gmail.com. You're not even trying to hide your direct email address. That's pretty sweet.
No, we love hearing from people, man. And like what I tell people too, like when I talk to them at shows, and it's like, you're talking to us. Like when you email us, it's me or my brother.
Yeah.
If you message us on Facebook, if you message us on Instagram, like it's us. You know what I mean? And we want to build that community, and that's kind of what that, as a small business, that we can use that to separate ourselves. And I think other smaller businesses that understand that are thriving and growing, right? But and you mentioned like Great Lakes Finesse earlier, like they obviously they're blowing up and they're working with some big time names right now, but they've held on to those values that they've had from day one, and that's really what we're striving to do.
Yeah, that's sweet, man. And honestly, like, couldn't you, Nate? I could see Bigg Mouth Fishing kind of going that same direction, just in terms of, like, again, I use this as a comparison all the time. Apple doesn't really make anything. Like Apple didn't invent the tablet. They didn't invent the phone. They didn't invent the computer. They just take things that other people were making and put a little spin on it to make it cooler, make it easier, make it more intuitive, or put it in a, I mean, honestly, this is almost apples to apples. Apple is good at making colors people want, just like Bigg Mouth makes cool colors. You know, like I could see Bigg Mouth going the way of Great Lakes Finesse, like blowing up just based on merit, based on things being different enough. You know what I mean?
That'd be awesome. I mean, obviously that's, that's always, the dream, right? You don't do things and you don't ever want to fail. Right. And, but I mean, yeah, we've always had that vision of like, let's just see, right. Let's just do the things that we want to do in the right way, in the best way possible. And how much learning we've done over these past 6 years and how much we've improved even the basics. It's been really cool, but that just kind of pushes you to find out where that ceiling is, and we're not even close to hitting it yet. So I'm really excited about the future. I'm excited to see what it brings. I'm excited to see, all of our anglers that have been with us since day one that are going to support us, and they keep supporting us. And that's, at the end of the day, if we can make a good product for people that enjoy using them, then we're happy. We're good.
I love that. Gosh, dog it. I love it, dude. Absolutely.
No, that's awesome.
Nate, you got a walk off for Dan?
Nah, man, I think that was it right there. Yeah. Keeping the core values and making a product that people are going to want to keep using, and staying true to yourself. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, that's exactly it, dude. So if you're listening to this, you wouldn't see it like it's on YouTube. There's a little ticker tape at the bottom of the podcast. Bigg Mouth Fishing, again, is BIGG, and that's all caps. Doesn't really matter for looking for it, but Bigg Mouth Fishing is biggmouthfishing.com. Bigg Mouth Fishing at gmail.com, and then on Facebook and Insta it's just at BIGGMOUTH Fishing. Bigg Mouth Fishing. Give them a follow, give them a holler. Like Dan said, 20% off right now on the customs. So if you got some crazy idea you want to run through on a stick bait, which Nate and I definitely do, hit them up. Now's the time to do it. And as a guy who, I like it when you have somebody on the show who's a lure maker and they're like, we want to send you some lures so you can try them before we record. To me, that shows that they're confident in their stuff. They believe in it. And Nate and I both got a package from Dan, which, by the way, thank you for that.
Absolutely.
That was awesome.
Appreciate it.
But yeah, nothing but the best for you, man. You got anything else you want to say before we get you out of here?
Well, I just want to thank you guys for having me on. Obviously, anytime we can talk fishing, it's a good day, and obviously promote our brand and our community. So we always love that. Again, we do this because we're driven by the anglers who use our stuff, and that's what kind of drives us to work late at night and to spend time. And we make everything ourselves, we bag everything ourselves, we package everything ourselves. So that drives us, right? So we appreciate that too, and we got a special code too for your listeners.
Yeah.
It's TT25, right?
Okay.
Taco, right? Taco and tackle, right? TT25, and your listeners can use that in checkout whenever. It's obviously one-time use per customer, but 25% off their entire purchase.
Okay, 25% off. You heard it right here. TT25.
Awesome.
TT tackle taco TT25 at biggmouthfishing.com. We'll get you 25% off for a one-time purchase, a quarter of your price off. That's pretty freaking amazing. Thanks for doing that, Dan.
Yeah, man. We just, again, we want to grow. We want people to see our products and use our products, and we believe in them. And the only way we can keep growing is with people supporting us. So again, that's everything to us, right? We're just making baits, and but we want to make it at the highest level possible for people to go out there, whether you're a tournament guy and trying to win money, whether you're just dad going out with his kids, whether you're a weekend warrior, whether you haven't fished in 10 years and you want to pick it up, we got something for you. So we always appreciate that feedback. It means everything to us, and that support from our anglers. Thank you guys for having us on, and thank you all of you guys for supporting us and checking us out.
Yeah, heck yeah, man. Dan, what's your brother's name?
Andy.
Andy. So Dan and Andy, Andy, thank you for being the consummate tinkerer. We appreciate you messing around with stuff and
Yeah.
up and driving Dan crazy, but sometimes you got to crack a couple of eggs to make a dope omelet, and you guys' omelet looks amazing. So biggmouthfishing.com, TT25, get 25% off. We appreciate you, man. We'll have you back on sometime if you're down to come back on. Maybe we can just talk some fishing and stuff.
Dude, I would love it. You send me a text and I'll be ready anytime, anywhere.
Perfect. All right, Dan. We appreciate you hopping on, brother.
All right, guys.
All right, buddy. We'll see you later.
Peace.
Dan W. I was gonna try and say his name, but I couldn't do it. I figured I messed it up. But Dan W. from Bigg Mouth Fishing. That's about as authentic of a cat as you're gonna meet in the fishing lure space. I really, really liked a bunch of different things he said. One that stood out to me was he wants to make it as like the juxtaposition of these two statements together meant a lot to me. He wants to make the company as big as he can, but he's also not over here trying to reinvent the wheel. He knew that their kind of path forward with the company was just to kill it in the color game. It wasn't, let's create a crazy lure that looks like a duck drowning, or let's, some stupid thing. It was like, let's stay true to things that actually work. And then let's just just twist it a little bit, and make it different enough in the color game, which Jesus in heaven, that watermelon slice. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, no, that was absolutely incredible. Yeah, like you said, trying to make it as big as he can, but I liked, staying true to values and the idea of putting out just an incredible product like these Neds that I've got one here. I've literally been stretching and pulling on this almost the entire episode, and it's like, it's perfect. Like I
look at that colored corn.
I don't,
Lake in that thing.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
I'm not even a big Ned guy, but I'm going to be like, this is getting fish.
Ned is literally Texas rigging a worm. It never stopped. It never stopped working. People just kind of slowed down on it because there's so much other stuff now, and I don't know why. Neds are awesome.
Yeah, I've got some spots here on the river right by me. I think this would be pretty incredible. And honestly, I mean, we're kind of late in the year. I don't think I've caught a smallie yet this year, so I need to get after it.
What the?
Yeah, crazy.
I know a guy who lives up north in Wisconsin who will take you out. His name is me. So we have lots of smallmouth up here, lots of them.
Well, I'm gonna need to make a trip here soon because I got an itch. I got an itch that needs scratch for sure.
Got that Dave Chappelle crackhead.
Yeah.
Smallmouth, man. Well, anyway, so make sure everybody, if you're listening to this, go to biggmouthfishing.com, get you some baits. I think all the stuff is dope, but I think even he said it, the stick baits, the Cincos are just on a completely different level, a completely different stratosphere as far as bass guys go. And again, what I really want to do is get like that watermelon slice or a weird color, and not a weird, but just a different, I guess. I don't want it to sound negative. It's not negative at all, but a unique color. Put it down just a little bit and then throw it on a drop shot wacky rig and just watch those smallmouth just get ornery at it. I just know. I like you were saying, you got some spots on the river. I got some spots right around me at about 3 different lakes that I know if I bring that on a drop shot wacky rig in a bright color like that watermelon slice for smallmouth, it's gonna get whooped. It's gonna get whooped on.
Yeah, heck yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, that's it, man. Thank everybody for tuning in. Thank you for listening to Tackling Tacos, a fishing podcast. If you would consider leaving us a positive review on Spotify or Apple, means a lot to us. Tacklingtacos.com. All the merch game is re-up. The new hats. We got shirts back in stock. Everything is there. The stickers, everything is back in stock. So tacklingtacos.com. Go over to store or shop or whatever the heck it is. And we appreciate you. Remember, in life, whether you're fishing, family, work, whatever it is, you got a hurt sciatic nerve, you got a hurt hip from wrestling with dudes that are too big for you. Everything goes better, good, bad, or anything else goes better if you choose to be positive, because positivity is worth the effort. We will catch you on the next one.
Peace. Go eat you some tacos too.
Go get you some tacos, boy. We didn't even ask them about tacos. What are we doing? Jeepers creepers.